Okay, race fans, I'm delighted once again to join Bre Morris in Manfield. End of round three, but a heck of a weekend of varying weather, a very physical track again, different direction this time. Bre, let's start off with the beginning of the weekend because what people might not know tuning in Sunday is that you started out this weekend Thursday morning.
Yeah, so we started out on Thursday morning testing, and then Friday was testing also, and then we went straight into the thick of it on Saturday and Sunday for racing.
What do you do on a Thursday? I mean, it's testing. There's nothing to be gained. I guess set up, yeah. But are you learning? Are you working with your engineer to learn anything specifically?
Yeah, Thursdays are a massive thing for all of us drivers because it's new tracks, new cars, and everything. Even if you've driven on the track before in a different car, it's so different going out there in another car because it's just in this car specifically, it's so much aero and grip.
Do you prefer Manfield to say Taratonga?
I don't have a favorite track yet.
But this one is quite different. Very cambered corners, which is can be kind of weird at first because it's hard to gauge where the actual grip is because you've got extra grip from the way that the track is designed.
Yeah, Manfield is definitely a well cambered track, but I don't think it has it does have its differences, but it's also you still have to apply everything that you do at every other track.
What did you learn Thursday night? Did you go back to your hotel or whatever feeling that you were on top of it, or were you still looking for things?
Thursday I felt on top of it. I came out of the last test session pretty happy. Um, and I watched some more footage just to build my confidence around those high aero, just watching other people do it. And then we went into Friday just sort of struggling a little bit more to improve where I needed to improve. But by the end of the weekend, I definitely got there.
Free, free practice, three free practices on Friday. Did you improve from Thursday to Friday by the end of Friday?
Um, I think I minorly improved, but I keep beating myself up because I'm not improving to the rate I expect myself to improve. So looking from Thursday to Sunday, I think my best improvement was Sunday's last race.
I suppose that's really all that matters. So, well, let's just going down a bit. Saturday morning qualifying. How did that go?
Saturday morning qualifying was personally, I found it challenging because one, it was in the rain and it was like my first sort of debut in the rain again, except from Tiratonga. So it was definitely, we had one session in the rain on Friday, so we were sort of chucked into the thick of it on the Saturday morning, trying to like push as hard as you could in time on qualifying with just 15 minutes.
Try to explain to the fans and the sponsors just what it's like to drive a racing car in the rain. We've all driven cars in the rain, but the grip level doesn't really change that much. You don't notice that much. You've got a lot of brake horsepower underneath you. Tell us how different it is to drive in the rain.
Yeah, I found majorly in these cars that the braking, you can actually brake way deeper in the wet in one of these cars. It's just about squaring off the corner and getting that exit. So it's basically who can get to full throttle the quickest.
Good point. What did you reckon to this new kid, Foster? He's obviously got he's got the bit between his teeth, but it's another sign that you really are truly within a world class field. So I know you're frustrated with your own progression, but I think it's great that they're throwing these world class stars at you for you to be part of.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's awesome to have Louis a part of the team. He's been a great help to me personally, just helping me build my confidence a little bit more with the aero, just saying, come on, Brie, like trust me, like it's much better with the aero when you do push it. Yeah, it's great to learn off of someone that is at the front of the pack, and definitely since he's running in Indy Lights this year.
Yeah, I was about to say a great benchmark and a great person to learn from because he does have more experience, and that's what you're there for. All right, well, let's turn to the first race Saturday. How did it go? How did you start go, and how did it? If
Saturday's race one was in the wet. I definitely found I had much more than gain in the wet because I didn't have to rely on trusting the aero in the car and having the confidence. So I kept it on track, and I was pretty happy with how I had my results and my progression in that first race.
On to race 2, Sunday. Actually, the best conditions of the weekend, in some ways. How did that go?
Race 2, I went in very. It was a change from the wet to the dry, and I went in there, and I think I just got a little bit mind boggled, and I wasn't focusing on the right things out on the track, whereas I just kept beating myself up in a way just to think I was improving, but I wasn't. So it was a bit challenging, that last second race.
And what about the third, the final race? A longer race, physically obviously quite tough, but how did that go?
The third race was definitely a good improvement and a great way to end the weekend. I dropped a second off my times from the second race, so I'm pretty pleased with that. And I probably felt the most comfortable I've ever felt in the car so far, and really I started to trust the aero and started pushing it. And it honestly, the saying where they say the aero is quicker and feels better is so true.
That's good to know, because we have now reached just over the halfway point. So let's kind of do a review, if you will, of the first half. You started out as a novice and a rookie. You've done very little testing coming in here, but you've now got 9 solid races and nothing major happening to you in terms of damage or crashes and so on. So you've got to be pleased with that. How would you review the first half of the Toyota Racing Series 2023?
I honestly think I've come a long way. The biggest thing I'm focusing on is, again, the aero and exit off of the corners, just how much speed you can carry. And coming from Highlands, where I couldn't even get close to being comfortable with those high aero corners, high speed, to now coming to Manfield and actually really improving there. So I'm quite happy with that, with my improvement in aero, and also just now I think it's going to be coming to the picking all those little tenths off each corner.
So is it a case then of you just continually learning the car and pushing the limits that are probably further away from you than you know, but you've got to build up to it, yeah?
Yeah, the biggest thing is for me to just take it at my pace of pushing myself and not having too high of expectations of myself. I do need to keep reminding myself that I am the small fish in the big pond. Like, I haven't had as much experience as everyone else. So, and it's honestly, in my opinion, from going from a Formula Ford to a Wings and Slicks car is probably the biggest jump you could make in racing. So I think it's definitely going to take time to develop and get there, but as long as I'm making improvements each time.
Good for you. Yeah. So let's talk about the next half of the season, starting with Hampton Downs. And I guess there's 2 things to look at, really. One, it's just another round at Hampton Downs that you know well. But at the other end of the scale, you're doing your first ever New Zealand Grand Prix, one of the most prestigious and most historic events in your sport. How do you feel?
Yeah, I keep reminding myself that I am really grateful to be able to do this and be here and just show what we can all do. And I am heading in there with a clear head and with confidence, but I'm going to create goals for myself that are achievable, but are making myself push to achieve those goals.
And when you left your engineer tonight, did you kind of set one of those goals up and sort of say, right, we're going to work towards this at Hampton, or is it just all part of the same?
Honestly, after how many days? 5 days of being at the track, I think I left the track and I was like, okay, it's time to take a breather, 2 days off, because you get so mentally drained from all this racing. So Wednesday, yes, the head will be back in it and we will be planning what we want to do. So yeah.
Well, you told me you're a Jaffa. Are you going to go and sleep in your own bed?
I'm so going to go sleep in my own bed. I'm going to have cuddles with my puppy dog, see my family. Yeah.
That's actually going to be huge. You do need a break. It's a lot of mental input in a lot of short space of time and a long way from home. But you know, like you say, when you're back with your dog and hanging out with a family, do you feel as though, like you said, I think you're one of your toughest critics, which is a good thing as a sports person. But do you at least feel, right, I've got something to build on here?
Yeah, most definitely. It is definitely, like, I heard someone say to me today that you do have to be your own critic. You do have to be tough on yourself, but you also can't be too tough. You've got to make sure that you actually notice your improvements and your gains.
Good point. Yeah. All right. Well, look, tell me about Hampton for you. It's obviously the longer international circuit. Have you driven it?
I have, but I haven't driven it in an FT60 in my opinion so far. I've driven on all the tracks we've been to so far, but it's so different jumping in another car and going to the track.
Yeah, no kidding. And what goals, if any, have you set yourself for Hampton Downs? Just steady improvement again?
Yeah, just as long as I'm making a goal before the session and choosing an achievable goal and progressing on that.
So you bringing the dog down for a look at you on the track or at the loop or not?
I honestly, I don't think you're allowed dogs at the track, and my dog is much of a wuss that I don't think he'd want to be there.
No, fair enough. He'd probably start chasing the 55. Well, listen, Bre, anything else you want to add for your sponsors in terms of, just how to look out for you and also what you'll be working on this weekend for them?
Yeah, I just want to say a massive thanks to everyone for being behind me and supporting me through this. This is a massive jump for me, and I'm really looking forward to what the year comes.
Well, listen, go home, get some rest. We'll see you Wednesday. Head down and get going again.
Yeah, thanks, Jonathan.